Hi guys, today I'm going to do another book video. So if you've seen my first video that I did, you'll probably could guess what book I'm going to be reviewing today. But if you haven't seen that one, you might want to watch it first. I'll put the link down below. But if you have, and you have read the first book, which I'll tell you what it is in a minute, keep watching. I'm going to be doing a book review on Raelia, the second book in the Medoran Chronicles. Hope you like it. So if you haven't read Akarnae, I would click off this and watch that video and read that book first, because there will be spoilers for Akarnae in this book. In this review, as obviously this is the second book. So make sure you've read the first book before you read this. I don't want to spoil the book for you. So, having a gift and access to multiple worlds seems really great until you're Alex and you have an enemy who wants you to an enemy that wants to essentially take over the world and use you to do it. He hates mortals, and you're a mortal, and he wants to use you, and what do you think's gonna happen then? First of all, I'm just gonna give you a little bit of information on Raelia. So Raelia is the second book, as I said, in the Medoran Chronicles, with Akarnae being the first. It's followed by Dracora, then Greyvale, We Three Heroes, and Vardasia. So it's a 6-book series. It's 5 books with We Three Heroes has 3 stories. This is I would say it's a young adult fantasy book. It's really well written by Lynette, Noni, an Australian author. I think that's all you really need to know about the book. So I'll give you a little bit of the plot. So the book starts off where the last book ends. So it's Alex's second year at Akarnae Academy. She's a 4th year now, which means that she has access to a new class called Stealth and Subterfuge. There's not much difference, except there's a lot more that goes on in this book. So Avon is still a threat, and Alex has to warn the Marians, so she has to go to Maya to do that. Some really good Marian and mortal relationships are formed in this book. There's a really cool, so Stealth and Subterfuge is really cool. There's a whole big chunk of the book about it. That's a really good part of the book. It's a very adventurous teamwork. It's got some good it's really good, that part. I really like that part of the book, which is probably like that much of the book, but that's okay. Yeah, so I'm not gonna say much because I don't want to ruin the book, but so much happens. But when she goes to Maya, it's amazing. Yeah, anyway, I don't want to give up what happens, but there's a lot of new relationships are formed, good and not so good. Alex kind of gets more enemies, but also gets more friends. So she also has to go to Maine because she needs to train to be able to beat Avon. Anyway, so we're going to stop the plot recount there. So take a look at my notes. So the reason that I really like this book is because it's really adventurous. It has themes such as, I believe that it has themes such as anxiety, and it tackles issues such as panic attacks, depression, very tough themes that people still struggle to talk about, and I think that this book having those themes in it is really good and really eye-opening. I didn't realise the first time around, but this time around I did realise because I've experienced some of that, so it was more eye-opening, and I was like, that's what's happening there. I understand because that's happened to me. So I think it's really, you can connect with this book in different ways, such as with that, or with the adventures, or with the friendships. It's a really good book that can connect in different ways. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons. I also really like this book because of all the relationships that are formed. The relationships between Alex and the Marians are my favourite. Her and Zane are my favourite. Once you've read it, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say that he likes to call her little human. It's a really funny part. She hates it, but that's just one of my favourite little things in the book. And one thing I really like is that Lynette, the author, she has a really good way of surprising you. Now, I don't know if this is the same for other people, but for me, the first time I read this, I was very shocked at what happens at the end. She uses certain characters and in certain ways and for certain things, they turn evil, and I just didn't expect it. And I really like that there's a lot of surprises and twists and turns, which it keeps you wanting more. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say about why I like this book, because there's so many reasons. I love this book so much. I love this whole series. I couldn't list everything I love about it because then you'd have to read the whole book. So yeah, that's all I want to say about why I like it. There's not really anything that I don't like. Not that I can think of. I really do enjoy these books, and I think that what is written is what is needed. More would have been too much, less would have been not enough. So this book I would recommend if you're a teen or a young adult, even a little bit older or even a little bit younger. It's a very wide range book for ages. If you're younger, there's nothing graphic in it, or there's a little bit of like blood and there's reading. It's not a lot of like romancy stuff, so it's not like too old for the younger kids in that sense. But if you like books such as, so if you like books such as Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard, The Selection by Kira Cass, and Whisper, also by Lynette Noni. I put this one in because it is fantasy. It's very different to Akarnae, but it's really good. And I think if you like this, you'd like Akarnae. I read this first before Akarnae and Raelia, sorry. So I think you'd really like it if you like books such as like these, that you would really like Raelia, along with the rest of the Medoran Chronicles. And I'm going to rate the book. So I've decided to do a little bit more of a traditional way of reviewing books instead of just being muddled and all over the place. I'm going to rate it out of 5. So 1, obviously not very good. 5, amazing. 3, was good, could have been better. So I'm going to do 5, honestly. There's not a lot I can fault about this book. If anything, the one thing, okay, I've thought of something. The one thing that I personally would love more of is Alex and Caden's relationship. Now, I love books where there's fantasy and romance, and that's just how I am. I'm really big into romance, along with a really cool adventurous story, or even just straight romance. I love romance and fantasy in the same book. So if there was more Alex and Caden, which there will be in later books, and I kind of wish there was more in the earlier books, just because I love their relationship and I love them and I love watching it blossom. But that's probably the one thing I could say. There are other things that I can't talk to you about unless you've read it, that I love that happened a little bit earlier. So in this book, I'm not going to say it, there is a relationship that blossoms a little bit in this book, but it's never explicitly said between the two people. I do wish that was maybe looked into a little bit more and incorporated a little bit more into the story, but they're not Alex, obviously, so that is why. But I do wish sometimes that there was a little bit more romance. But it's not a romance book, so I can't complain. That's just my personal preference with reading, is I love romance. That's pretty much all I have to say. But Raelia is a really good book. Really, I love the relationship development between the Marians and Alex and the mortals. That's honestly my favourite part of the book, especially Zane. But yeah, I think you'd really like this, especially if you like I said, Red Queen, The Selection, Whisper, maybe even Trill. So that's what I mentioned in my top 5 fantasy books, Trill. It's a really good book. Yeah, I think you'd really like this book and this series. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna leave it there. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did like it, give it a thumbs up. Let me know down below what you think and what you want to see next. I'm thinking of maybe doing like a book versus movie kind of series, like with After, a romance book, maybe with To All the Boys I Loved Before. It's hard because I donated a lot of the books that are at movies as well, so it's gonna be hard if I need to reread it, but we'll figure it out. But yeah, let me know what you want to see. Let me know if you liked it. and I'll see you next time. Bye!